Hello, this is Ayako Sekinai from Wellness Kitchen. This time it's this. Right now, shallots are in season. When you think of shallots, many people probably imagine them pickled in sweet vinegar, but actually they're also called medicine of the field because they're packed with very attractive nutrients. They're a type of vegetable. Shallots spoil quickly, so it's common to process and preserve them right away. But this time, I'll show you a recipe for storing shallots well as a vegetable, so you can enjoy them as a side dish with your meal. You can also add them to various dishes as a little extra. I'll introduce 2 recipes that can be arranged in many different ways. I also want to talk about the wonderful nutritional benefits of shallots, so please watch until the end. Baronessa Kitchen focuses on food with an anti-aging theme. We will continue to share information that will energize both your mind and body, so please be sure to subscribe to our channel. Rakgyo is often called field medicine. In Chinese medicine, it's known for its laxative effects and pain-relieving properties that help with pain caused by cold. Nutritionally, I think Rakgyo stands out as having the highest amount of dietary fiber among vegetables and fruits. I don't think there's anything else that contains more than 20 grams of dietary fiber per 100 grams. Moreover, about 90% of that is soluble dietary fiber. It contains a type of dietary fiber called fructan, which is fermented by good bacteria in your gut. By consuming this fermentable dietary fiber, a health-promoting component called short-chain fatty acids is produced, which is currently getting a lot of attention. These short-chain fatty acids are known to affect not only your gut environment but also your overall health. That's the soluble dietary fiber found in Rakgyo. By the way, it's said to have 4 times more than burdock root and even 11 times more than cabbage, which is quite different from what most people imagine about dietary fiber. I want everyone to keep that in mind first. Usually people think of Rakgyo as something you eat 2 or 3 pieces of in sweet vinegar, but since Rakgyo is so amazing, I'd like to introduce a make-ahead recipe so you can enjoy it as a proper vegetable dish. Another distinctive component of Rakgyo is allicin, which is also found in garlic and onions. Allicin gives garlic its spiciness and has antibacterial effects. It also thins blood, lowers blood pressure, and reduces cholesterol. It has various health benefits like these. When you stir-fry this allicin together with oil, it creates a compound called ajoin, which has an even stronger blood-thinning effect. This time, instead of just adding it, I'd like to introduce a way of cooking that transforms this allicin into ajoin, enhancing the blood-thinning effect and, combined with the action of fructan, can help slow the rise in blood sugar levels. A wonderful way to eat for great health benefits. This fructan, because it's water-soluble, leaving it in water for long periods will make it gradually dissolve. While that's okay, I recommend eating it whole in your cooking. It's easy to prepare and store, works well as a side dish, and this method offers several benefits. I hope you'll enjoy this as a seasonal delicacy unique to this time of year. First, carefully wash the Rakgyo in water. Since the Rakgyo bulbs are connected at the base, separate them all into individual pieces. Then, wash them carefully in water. By rubbing and washing them thoroughly, the thin skins will come off more easily. If the surface of the Rakgyo is wrinkled or lacks firmness, try peeling off 1 extra layer. Remove any damaged parts before use. Peel off the thin skin, rinse with water, and drain in a colander. I've washed the Rakgyo. This time, since it's not an object, if there are any bad parts, you can just cut them off and use the rest, so that's how it is. In that sense, the preparation is really simple, and I think you can use it without any waste. Since it grows quickly, it spoils very fast, so it should be fine in the fridge for about 2 days, but once it's cooked, it's easier to store, whether refrigerated or frozen, so the key point is to cook it quickly. I've washed the herbs thoroughly. I'll cut off the base here and I'll use the stems right up to the very end. Really, just about this much. Only the part where the color has changed a bit. Just cut off that area. I want to use everything without waste. I think sometimes you might wonder how much of the thin skin you should peel off, but since this isn't for sale, it's okay if a little bit of the skin is left. Just like this, it's fine. There are times when you might wonder whether you should peel off a layer or not, but you can just use it as a vegetable. So you don't have to worry about it too much. If there's any thin skin that looks like it can be peeled, just go ahead and peel it off. If you see any spots that look a little bad like this, it's fine to just cut them off. I've just cut off a little bit from the root and the tip of the stem. From here, I'll introduce 2 dishes, but if you chop it rather than use it whole, more allicin will be produced. I'd like to try cutting it in 2 different ways. First, for the oil-based dish, slice it into rounds about 5 millimeters thick, kind of like you would with garlic. As you handle it, your hands might get a bit sticky. That's because of the fructan. It's a component that helps keep your gut healthy, and it's packed in here. Since it's very water soluble, I want to make sure we don't waste any of the fructan this time. There's no set amount, so just make as much as you want. You can make a little sweet vinegar marinade and enjoy the rest in a different way like this. I think that's fine too. For the other dish, I want to make a Kinpira-style dish with the rakkyo, but this time slice it vertically. Just cut it into vertical rounds like this, and that's perfect. Cut small ones in half vertically and larger ones into thirds vertically. I tried cutting the rakkyo in 2 different ways. The strong spicy smell is filling the air, and that's because of the allicin. The ones cut vertically will be used for kinpira, and the ones cut into rounds will be marinated in oil. By coating both with oil and heating them together, it helps with the spicy components. The allicin changes into something called ajoin. It helps to thin the blood. Now for the first dish, I'll make pickled shallots in oil. This recipe is expected to help thin your blood. Since it's rich in fructans, it also helps control blood sugar levels. I recommend having it before meals or enjoying it together with your dishes. Ingredients include 500 grams of sliced rakkyo. You can add sliced dried red chili peppers to taste, as much as you like. I'm going to add a little salt as well. If you don't want to consume salt, you can leave it out. Next, we'll use olive oil. Set the heat to medium, and while the pan is still cold, add the rakkyo. There's about 500 grams here. Make as much as you like, and add chili peppers to your taste for some spiciness. The compound allicin is sensitive to heat, but when you heat it together with oil, it changes into another compound called ajoin. Please add a little more oil, just enough so that some settles at the bottom. Stir fry so that everything gets coated evenly. When it comes to rakkyo, most people eat it raw as it is, so I think the amount you eat is about 3 or 4 pieces. Thanks. By preparing it this way, you can enjoy it as a vegetable without worrying too much about the amount. If you use plastic wrap like this, you can also get a good amount of fiber that's great for your digestive health. It's a vegetable that's kind of like a cross between garlic and green onion, so it goes well with foods rich in vitamin B1 like pork. When you eat it together with other ingredients, it further enhances the recovery effect. If you season it with salt beforehand, it's easier to use in various dishes. The pickled shallots are starting to cook nicely. Try eating the tofu and see how it tastes. As long as there's no strong spiciness, it's fine. There's no spiciness, but it's crispy and really delicious. Okay, I'll turn off the heat. If you're storing it in the refrigerator, please use it within about a week. If you want to keep it longer, seal it tightly and put it in the freezer. If you keep it in the freezer, you can enjoy it for about 2 months without any problems. Next, I'd like to make kinpira with pickled shallots. This is about half of what we had earlier, so it's close to 500 grams. You can use as much as you like. For the seasonings, use equal amounts of oil and mirin and add a little vinegar. Then stir fry with sesame oil and add ground sesame seeds to make it mild. I also want to add a bit of fresh spiciness. This seasoning goes well with rice too. Use plenty of sesame oil, add more than usual. Now, stir fry the fresh ingredients. I'm using a bit more of the fresh ingredients this time, but please adjust the amount to your liking. Use medium heat. By stir frying the fresh ingredients in oil, it actually increases the warming properties for your body. Rachu will be added. Stir fry it to about the same doneness as the previous oil-based ingredients so that it still has a bit of crunch left. Originally, rachu was crispy. Since it has a crunchy texture, it won't get too soft. But once everything starts to look a bit translucent, we'll add the seasonings. Here's the oil. This is mirin. We're going to add more vinegar than before. Once the vinegar has spread throughout, turn off the heat. For the finishing touch, add ground sesame seeds. The ground sesame will absorb the broth and also help pick up the fructan that has dissolved into the broth. Of course, it also adds a mellow flavor and makes it even more delicious. Adjust the amount to your liking. For example, with just this amount, you can get all the dietary fiber you need for a day. Rakyeo is very high in fiber. If you like, you can also sprinkle a little bonito flakes on top. It will become even more delicious.
Two types of rakyeo recipes.
I'd like to taste them. First, let's try the rakyeo with oil. Even though it's called with oil, it doesn't feel that oily. I'll give it a try. Sorry for eating it just as I bought it. This feels like a new texture from a vegetable I don't usually eat. Since it's packed with fructan, it really has a slightly slippery and sticky texture. It has a unique texture. If I had to compare, it's a bit like stir-fried lotus root with a bit of crunch left. If you heat it up a little, it brings out a different kind of deliciousness. Of course, it's also good just as it is. I think it's great to add it to miso soup, stir-fries, or even as a side dish. If you eat it before your meal, the fructan helps to suppress the rise in blood sugar. So I really hope you'll try using this pickled shallot in different ways. Now let's move on to this Kinpira-style shallot. I'll give it a try. I added bonito flakes, making it feel like a true side dish. It's finished well. When you stir fry it, it gives off an aroma similar to garlic or onion. It's completely different. If I had to compare, it's somewhat like udo, that kind of gentle flavor. It's a vegetable that's light and refreshing, and since it isn't spicy, it's perfect as a side dish for rice. You can add it to stir fries, and I think it would go well in fried rice too. You can also put it in the broth for somen or hayamugi noodles and enjoy it as a condiment. You can also enjoy it on top. Is suitable for everyone, from children to the elderly. This recipe really lets you get plenty of nutrition from vegetables. This time I introduced a new way to preserve and eat seasonal rakyeo. When you think of rakyeo, you might have a certain image, but if you quickly stir fry it and season it to your liking, you can freeze it or keep it in the fridge for about a week with no problem. Rakyeo is rich in water-soluble dietary fiber and allicin, which helps keep your blood smooth. These two effects can help control blood sugar spikes, lower cholesterol, prevent high blood pressure, improve obesity, and relieve constipation, so you can expect a variety of health benefits. It's a vegetable, so please try enjoying it in new ways while it's in season for a short time. Thank you for watching until the end. See you next time.
Let's meet again in another video.